Hey there, it is Saturday, so I will be posting this later today. I want to say, first of all, those upcoming videos, the pre-recorded ones that I plan to post on Wednesdays, I'm going to push them through to do Wednesdays and Saturdays so that you're not waiting around forever to see them in case they're relevant sooner than later. And I have a continuation of that vision that I was talking about in that other video about the globe and the triangular figure on top of it. I forgot to mention it in that other video because I was talking about all kinds of other things, and I've been thinking about it since then, and I do still feel like it's relevant. I was kind of hoping that, I don't know, I guess in a way I was kind of hoping the message would go away, so I didn't have to go back and talk about it again, but it still feels relevant, so I'm going to share it with you guys. I did want to first talk about my political affiliation though, because I don't want you guys to get the wrong idea and feel like I have some political sides that I take. I really don't take sides. Obviously, I'm one of the least informed people when it comes to that, which I need to take personal responsibility for and become more aware and participate more, because I do feel the only way to beat this system, the beast system essentially, is through self-educating yourself on policies that exist, and you know what's going on with these political figures and what's going on in the world, and then really taking a stand for what's right in a lawful and honorable way, right? So that, and also that I am aware, you know, personally, that the people that I mentioned, the political figures that I mentioned, I don't feel like I wouldn't trust them. like on a personal level. I think once you get to a certain position, well, I mean, not everyone, you can still be a lower level person, right? Just a regular person, and still have the language of money, right? That's kind of the language people speak, is finances. And so of course they have their self-interest, and they have the interest of their nations, and then whatever going on there, right? Something behind the scenes. And while I do agree, like personally, with what I just said, like that's my belief, there are other people that are playing a different ball game, and they speak the language of evil, like pure evil. Why? I don't really know. I think it's it's different for everyone, right? Like you can't really speak for everyone on what their motivations are, whether it's power trip or it's political gain, selfishness, entitlement, boredom, right? Sometimes people want to do horrible things because they think it's funny, because they're bored, because they're jealous. And so it's all kinds of different reasons, like jealous of genuinely happy people, jealous of people who, you know, seem to have everything without having anything, like in the tangible sense. And boredom, I feel, you know, it's an internal compass for us. If you're bored, there's something spiritually lacking in you, because the world has so many different opportunities to learn something, to connect with people, connect with things like animals, nature, everything. And advocate for, right? Since the beginning of time, there's been these wars against each other and the desire to conquer, the human desire to conquer. So of course there are peaceful people who can advocate for diplomacy, right? And so if you're bored, that's a very dangerous, potentially dangerous place to be. So anyway, I guess I should go ahead and get started on that vision. So, and I need to talk about star trackers and talk a little bit more about that. So here's the continuation. This is a side note. Number 8 seems to be significant somehow. The number 8. Okay. So I saw the globe, and on top it was a finial, or I call it a finial because I was aware of the attachment to Earth. There wasn't anything there. It would have been some sort of force field that's attaching it to Earth. And it was black. Completely black. And so I'm gonna kind of blow it up right here and draw a triangle again. And just assume it's black, because I want to show you this part. So on top of it, it was superimposed an inverted triangle, and then superimpose on top of it a protractor, like that. So that was what was up here, and it was connected by some sort of force, an energetic force, invisible to my eye. And when I talk about star trackers, I did a video on a celebrity and I mentioned him being a pawn for these people, and him being so egotistical to the point that he's unaware of this. Has a different mindset, right? Kind of like, I don't care who I hurt to get to the top kind of thing. And almost like drunk on power, drunk on doing bad things for some reason. I feel like for them in particular, it's about power. That's what it is. Like, they really want to assert themselves and be some sort of they want to have that notoriety, like, of being someone important. And yeah, so anyway, what it feels like for what I consider star trackers, it's kind of a general term that I've been using, so excuse me for me saying this, and then it might be a little bit different for someone else. But overall, how it's relevant to this, I'm not 100% sure, because I can't even remember what I said about the star tracking people, but it is somehow relevant here, because I guess adding on to it, what I'm picking up now is, okay, this is more information. This is new information. So I feel like, so our guardian angels, there's like a variety of angels, a variety of like spiritual beings that are watching over us. Multitude of levels as far as their frequency, but it's above us. And a lot of them have their own life lessons. And so in truth, everything that happens in the physical world is somehow being represented in the spiritual world as well, as far as their spiritual being, right? And so how it represents here is, it's like on a more concentrated scale. And these guardian angels that are watching over us, and those who aren't really involved, just basically everyone who has eyes on us are wondering where this is going. It's like some of them have an idea where it's going or have an awareness of where it's going. Like they can perceive very clearly of the most likely trajectory of things, but they're kind of trying to figure out where their lessons come into play with this. Like, where did we go wrong? Where did we go right? What do we do in this situation? All of that. And then below them are these active souls. Okay, so these active souls are on the darker scale of things, and they're lower level because they're within this realm, within the human realm. And I would equivalent them to ghosts, like where ghosts come into the physical world and they knock things down, or you can see them, things like that. So it's almost like a transparency on top of this current reality where they can move around. I would even equate this to astral projecting, which is a relatively demonic thing to do. It's very dangerous. It's been commercialized as well, not only to get unsuspecting people to do it, but also because I think just by nature there's a lot of curious people who are trying to explore and understand the spiritual aspects of things without really realizing the dangers of it, because you're leaving your body but still staying within this world, and the majority of people are not fully healed nor protected nor have the spiritual backing that is required, the experience, in order to do it in a safe, fully safe manner. That's not to say that everyone who does it is in danger. If you did it, that you're in danger necessarily, but it's quite a difficult thing to do without becoming even minutely possessed or have eyes on you as a potential victim in a lot of ways, because, you know, just like energy cannot be created nor destroyed, the soul cannot be created nor destroyed. Whatever is here is here. The soul is not energy. They're two separate things. This is not the same thing. However, I'm comparing that because as you project elsewhere, your body is still here. Your body is, something's going to have to inhabit it. So, and that's where a lot of these demons exist, is on the astral realm. That's mostly where that's the only place that they really exist, except for lower levels. That's like the next highest place that they can go. And then they kind of travel, like kind of like a slide or like an Amtrak. They slide on an energy and then they hijack the energy and then they jump onto the next one and slide it against that energy in order to get to where they're trying to go, which is essentially to the stars around the solar system, in order to navigate and kind of understand and predict and project certain things in the world. That's where they kind of hang to really communicate with the demons, living demons, right? And so Australia is a very, not to call it Australia out or anything, but there's a significance to that, a very huge significance that I've been becoming more and more aware of through my visions, through time. There's a lot of ancient areas, ancient portals, ancient things, like even plants. There's something about plants there that are super, super ancient in Australia. And that's where a lot of these people go to easily access these plants and these portals and all of that. So, yeah, you know, degenerates of the world who are heck bent on destruction. For multiple, you know, and sometimes it's really about being traumatized, and in truth, we can't really judge anyone for their own personal progress, truly, even though they cause a lot of harm. I mean, you have to hold people responsible, obviously, but everyone evolves at different paces, and you know, it is what it is. So yeah. So anyway, on to that vision, then I'll be over it. So as I was pulling out, I talk about how like it was split, and how this side, how I was observing it was the left side. So it was like the left side of my mind, and then the right side of my mind. The right side of my mind, or well, of the globe, when I was viewing it, was still teeming with life. It was still existing. It was real. Everything, even the galaxy, just alive. The souls, everyone's just there doing real life stuff. What we're doing now, I guess. And then on this, and I also want to mention, side note too, I got no political affiliation, but like if we actually really care, if anything, this should be an eye-opening experience for people of taking a stand for, you know, just being good to other people, or not ignoring the tragedies that exist within the world, and maybe seeing what we can do about that, even if it just starts at home. Like how can we better serve ourselves so that we can better serve other people? Like how can we do that? You don't have to overgive or overcompensate or anything, but what can we do and to help humanity? And if we really cared about dictatorship and all of this, then what about the kids and the adults and everyone who are literally eating grass in the parks because they are not allowed to have the same liberties, you know, or all the types of trafficking that exist in other places that are actually ruled by dictators that we've known for quite some time. Anyway, so this side was blacked out. It's so weird to say, like every time I say blacked out in my head about this, it's like gray, like a grayish black. It's like, I don't know what this means, like personally, like maybe you guys know, but I don't know. I haven't come to this information yet. But it's like black is not it. Like that's the wrong answer is what I'm seeing. And essentially the reason why I say this, because black feels like good, like it feels like kind of like a good mysterious, or like something exists beyond it, like it feels more real, or like beautiful, and I don't know, it just feels heavenly in some ways. I don't know how to explain it other than just like it's an important color. I know it's the absence, and I understand like some significance to like why in certain religions or practices they wear black, because it's absorbing. However, this actual color, so it's not about their, you know, symbolism, but this actual like real color is like a grayish. It's like the literal absence of any color. It's not black. It's like something else, and it's the to me it's like the mask off of all evil, because evil can represent itself in many different ways, especially on the spiritual side, right? They can mask as familiar people because they can only copy. So they can mask as familiar people to gain your trust in order to get their message across, or like long term. It just depends, right? They can come across as excited. They can come across as all kinds of different things. I really don't want to get too much into it because it's better just to ignore them completely. So rather than talking about them, let's just move on. So this was all dark. It was dark-sided. And I kept pulling out and pulling out and pulling out. And I'm like, I want to know more about this. I want to see, like, beyond that. I want to see the truth of that. I want to see the truth of everything. Don't just show me that split thing. I want to see it all. And so I got to a point, I got far enough, and it happened very quickly, but the way I'm going to describe to you is, you know, a lot longer, but I would compare this to like seeing your life flash before your eyes. Like, it's just like a snap. So yeah, so I saw another split, and on this side I wasn't aware, like I couldn't remember, I couldn't recall it at the time, but so these were like angelic beings were guiding me through this, and they were talking about Maya Angelou and her quote about butterflies, and saying like, keep that in mind through this. And so, ouch, I just pinched my finger. So the quote, essentially, you can look it up, but essentially it's like, you know, people adorn the beauty of a butterfly, but they rarely acknowledge the transformation that I went through, or the tribulation, whatever, to get to become this butterfly. And so what happened on this side of my vision was I saw an egg, and I didn't know what was in the egg, but I was really excited. I thought it was so adorable, and I got really attached to this egg. And soon enough, as this larva came out of the egg, and I looked at the larva, and I was kind of excited to see where this was going, like what it was going to do with its life, all of so on and so forth. But then the egg, I was so sad. I was so sad and scared, and I kept saying that the egg was dead. The egg's dead. Look, there's a hole in it. It's gone now. It's just a shell. And they were telling me it's not dead. Everything's okay. And they were explaining it's the larva now. It came out of the egg. You know, kind of soothing me and helping me work through it, because I was so attached to this egg. And even as I was watching this larva evolve, time to time I would look back at the egg, or I would even have a memory of the egg, and they would kind of reassure me, like, it's okay to kind of move on from that. It's okay that you feel that way, though, you know, take your time, but please just kind of keep moving forward. And so the larva I was watching, and at first, because I was still attached to the egg, I was watching it eat a plant, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, it's destroying the plant, you know. I was kind of like, I kind of had my guard up, because I'm like, you killed my egg and now you're destroying a plant. And then it was me further understanding the process, like, okay, this is what I needed to do. It's not destroying anything. I can put my feelings aside, my attachments aside, my over-analyzing aside, and I could see that the roots, I could perceive it. So it was kind of showing me at the bottom, I could see the roots growing stronger on the plant, and the stem getting stronger on the plant, and it was turning kind of shimmery and purple because it was building a defense. So this larva or caterpillar, it was actually helping the plant. And so I learned to understand that even though it seems harmful, there's actually a bigger purpose to this. So of course I loved this little caterpillar, and the caterpillar ended up turning into a chrysalis, and the same process, not the same, but a similar process occurred where I was afraid of what was happening. I was scared and sad that now I no longer had the caterpillar and all the memories of this caterpillar. And I didn't know what was going to happen. I was thinking there's so many different things that can happen to this chrysalis, and of course inside it's turning to mush pretty much. And my guardian angels were saying, like, you can trust us. Don't you trust us? We have proven to you time and time again, as the egg, as the caterpillar, as the plant, now as the chrysalis, that everything is going to be okay. We have proven to you in multiple ways, multiple times, that you can just accept the process and everything will unfold in a way that maybe you don't understand, might seem a little stressful and scary, but it'll be okay. So that calmed me down, and sure enough, it became a butterfly. And I had that temptation to hold on to the chrysalis, but because I had so much faith built up from those experiences, I could better appreciate the butterfly for who it was in that process, and I could appreciate all of the transformation that had occurred in order to get it to there. And so I was observing this butterfly, and the butterfly was pollinating thousands of flowers. It was illuminating the entire world, you know, with just itself, right? And it's transient in a way that it was never transient before. It could flutter such a far distance, and not only was it touching the world in a way that people weren't really understanding or appreciating, because we have our own lives and we don't know every single particular butterfly. That butterfly was also touching individual lives, and that memory of the butterfly carried on for generations, much longer than the butterfly could ever live. You know, in the human perception, it only lived a short amount of time. And yet its legacy carried on forever. I saw it, for a baby seeing it for the first time. And so that was its first experience and understanding, because the parents were explaining to it what it was. It was me, when there's this joke that is, I guess is a joke, with some of my friends, that I'm always chasing butterflies, because like that's a term, you know, chasing butterflies, you're kind of like an airhead, like, oh, you don't know what's going on, you're looking around. And I literally chase butterflies because they're just so pretty. So I have just a catalog of blurry photos where I'm running after them, right? And so I saw that perspective from the butterfly's perspective of becoming part of a group's memory. And I saw the butterfly as part of an art project, and as someone who saw that as a sign that someone who has passed away was thinking about them. And so its life was so special and so significant and impactful, and yet again, from the human perspective, so short. And it was a reminder to me of how I rediscovered my belief, my true belief in God, or my true understanding. It's not like I ever not believed in God, but it was like a deepening of understanding when I observed nature. Because, and I probably said this before, but when you observe nature, you can see how they just do what they are intended to do. There's no second guessing. There's no comparison to other plants or to other species, right? They just are. They're a physical representation of faith and of trust. You know, it's cutting out all of the potential feelings and thoughts that a human being can have. That is, in a way, a defiance, in some ways, a defiance of God or of our purpose, right? If we just followed and trusted in doing how we internally feel, you know, not on like an extremist end, more of like the Buddhist way, like the structured and loving, ever loving, naturally good, going with the flow type of Buddhist or Taoism or whatever, then, and it's just a radical acceptance, right, of everything and everyone, then you can trust that things can evolve and work out in ways that you don't really understand. And so, yeah, that was the total vision. I did not leave anything out this time. So that's all. Again, I will be posting Wednesdays and Saturdays of those pre-recorded videos just to knock them out, and then I don't know what I'll do after that. I might even post additional videos between those times if I feel pulled to, or if I want to. And that's it, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.